What up, what up? I'm Aaron Yara, and you're listening to the Effective Nerdcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Effective Nerdcast. Hope everyone's doing alright. I know I'm in New York. Lockdown's been expanded by a few more weeks, it looks like. So I'm going to be working from home a little bit longer. Starting to get a little crazy as far as like being in the house all the time. I'm a pretty introverted person, obviously, for those of you who know me. I am kind of a homebody, but I do get antsy and do need to leave the house. So I look forward to the weekly grocery shopping trip, or if I need to get something. However, we've been doing a really good job of staying indoors, social distancing and all that. I like to crochet. I crocheted me and my wife some face masks. Made mine look like mine looked like a zombie. The one I made for my wife has variegated yarn. And then it kind of has like a tie-dye look to it. Pretty cool. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about 10 ways we can avoid or get through creative burnout. When we're making content or art regularly, it's really easy to become overwhelmed or burnt out or stressed out, especially when we're using, all of our creative energy or all of our mental energy on our projects. So today's episode is going to be my 10 ways that I get through feeling overwhelmed or burnt out when it comes to making art or making content. The number one is to have great time management. The way we use our time is really important. If we feel like we don't have enough time to complete the task we need to complete, then that could lead us to feeling overwhelmed or feeling stressed out. Practicing good time management will stave off burnout because you're using your energy more efficiently, and you're less likely to be overwhelmed because you're being productive. So instead of trying to get over feeling stressed out by just working harder, we work smarter, and we're using our time. You're getting more out of the same amount of time you would have normally if you start practicing time management. Being productive isn't always about doing a lot of work. It's about doing the right work with the time that you have. I know a lot of people think you just have to be like working all the time. However, that's not really the case. If you have your goals aligned and the steps of your process aligned with each other, you can take just like a half hour or an hour and really get a lot done that would normally take you a few hours to do because you either aren't focused or you have other tasks that are in your routine that aren't needed, or it can be done more efficiently at a different time. Practicing good time management will help keep you from getting stressed out and overwhelmed. Number two is to not be so hard on yourself. We aren't robots or machines. Like I said before, we can't just be working all the time. As humans, we need rest, comfort, love, entertainment. So as much as productivity is important, you can't really be working all of the time. You need time to just kind of kick back and chill out. If you find yourself feeling burnt out, look towards the things in your life that you love, whether that's your family or your other hobbies or other activities that you do. Go and do that for a while. I know a lot of people, including myself, feel guilty if they take time to say like play video games when they could be putting effort into their projects, into their work, but it's okay. We need things like the comfort of our family or our loved ones, or to entertain ourselves kind of in like almost like a mindless way where we're just chilling out, watching some TV, watching some Netflix, or playing video games. We just need it sometimes. And you shouldn't shouldn't be hard on yourself or feel guilty about taking some time to do that, assuming that you are working and making progress towards your projects regularly. Number three is to take care of your body. A healthy diet and exercise can go a long way, especially drinking water. You know, like water is like the lubricant for your body. So making sure that you're hydrated will really go a long way when it comes to either having to move your body or mental clarity. Just in general, a lot of people think of their mind and their body as separate. Your brain has like your personality and everything in it. You know, there's the whole like philosophical debate of, you know, does your body have a brain or does your mind have a body kind of thing. But it's all interconnected. Your body is the vessel that you use to perform the output of your brain. So it's really important to take care of your body. You'll have more energy. You can make better use of your energy, and that'll help stave off burnout or feeling stressed out, because not even from like a time management perspective, just from a physical body perspective, you're using your energy more efficiently. That'll go a long way when it comes to being productive without having the negative side effects like stress or burnout or feeling overwhelmed. Number four is to take care of your mind. I mean, burnout is a mental health issue. It affects your brain, that affects the way that you feel and the way you behave when it comes to your life. And creativity requires mental energy, and a lot of mental energy, especially if you're a creator and you're creating things regularly. My tips to take care of your mind are to talk to a friend or a therapist. Also, I'm not a therapist. If you actually do need mental health services, please go seek them out. There's nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to that. Everybody has their own mental health regimen that they need. The human brain is a variable thing. Everybody's mind is different. That's why art and just being social and humanity in general is so interesting and so great, because everybody's mind works a little bit different. And that's why, you know, if everyone's mind worked the same, there probably wouldn't be art, because there wouldn't be anything interesting, because we would all just completely understand each other. But with everyone's minds being different, everyone's mental health routine is also going to be different. Do what works best for you, find out what works best for you. Some people just go to a walk, some people talk to friends. One thing that I like to do that really helps with my mental health is I like to regularly reevaluate my goals and my expectations of said goals. Because sometimes you can have a goal in your mind and it's either so unobtainable or your expectations of it are unobtainable. That makes your work almost feel stressful, because even though you're working towards that goal, you aren't really seeing any results. But a lot of times, the fact that you're not seeing results isn't because you aren't working hard enough. It's because your expectations are set too high or your goals are set too high. So even taking your big lofty goal and breaking it down into smaller goals can be really helpful. That's just one thing that I like to do. I mean, also, like, you know, spending time with my family and just hanging out and doing things in my life outside of being creative or making content is really important for me. But like I said, everybody's different. So find what works best for you as far as a mental health regimen, especially during lockdown and quarantine. I know it's really hard for people to be in the house all the time. Find out what works best for you and just go for it. The better your mental health is, the more clarity you can kind of have when it comes to reaching your goals, and the less likely you are to be burnt out. Number five is to take a break when you need to. We kind of touched on this before, but no one should be expecting you to work 24/7. And as indie creators, we don't just make art or make content. We also do the marketing, the promotion. You know, we do social media, we run our own websites, and it's a lot of roles to wear. It's a lot of roles to wear. A lot of roles to play and a lot of hats to wear. it can get really overwhelming trying to juggle all these balls and to be successful at it. You know, you make a piece of art, then you have to promote it on social media, you have to add it to your website, you have to set up promotions, you have to go to gigs, go to events, go to conventions, and it can be a lot for one person or for a small team of people. A lot of people will schedule breaks in into their routine. Where I actually learned this from Blueprint over at Super Duty Tough Work. That's one of my favorite podcasts. He said he schedules breaks because if you schedule work, then your whole schedule is just filled with work, and that can be really stressful and overwhelming. So scheduling breaks, part of your productivity is taking a break. The fact of putting it on your calendar, putting it in your to-do list, you say, hey, that's the task I got to do right now. Let's go take a break. I actually find it to be really helpful, especially in my own life where I say, hey, I'm not going to do anything during this block of time that has to do with, you know, the website or the podcast or making art or anything. And just in general, take breaks when you need to. It's really important to refresh yourself. I think it was, if I'm remembering this correctly, I think it was Stephen King who said always leave a little bit in the tank, where he would say that when he was writing a novel, you know, he would have a certain amount of creative energy, and he would, instead of writing until it was completely tapped out, he would always leave a little bit left in there. And then that way, when he would go to write the next day, he would have that little bit of boost from the day before left over instead of having to completely refill his creative tank. Pretty sure it was Stephen King. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Number 6 is to keep your motivations in mind. A good way to do this is to look at your goals regularly, and also to like watch, listen, or read people that inspire you, whether that are other artists or not even like listening to people, but consuming the artwork and the content that motivates you. And that's different for everybody. What I like to do is, depending on where I need motivation, is where I'll consume my work, typically in podcast form or YouTube video form. So if I'm working on my website, I like to look at like SEO strategists or other entrepreneurs, or if I'm looking at art, I'll watch like Let's Draw videos or drawing tutorial videos or music production videos. I only have a certain amount of free time. My entertainment, I try to make wherever I need motivation in my work. So if I'm going to chill out for a bit and I've been working on a song, I'll watch some music production videos. I'm taking a break and I'm not working, but my entertainment during my break is going to reinvigorate me to go back and get some more work done. And I find that's a really great process. So I watch a lot of, like I said, a lot of YouTube and a lot of podcasts, listen to a lot of podcasts that will help shift me back from taking a break back into doing work. And it can be really motivating to do that. But do what works for you in terms of motivation. Now, some people like to be introspective and look at their goals and their process and their expectations, and that kind of drives them forward. You know, if you want to say like get out of debt, or if you have a certain goal with your family, like if you want to help bring some more money into the family, or if you want to make something for your kids, those can be really great motivating factors outside of the work itself, just thinking about how your work plays into your own life. Number 7 is to practice good stress management. Stress is a big factor in terms of burnout. Stress often stems from hitting obstacles or running out of time. All the previous things on this list really do help towards lowering stress in general, but I wanted to add stress management as its own thing, just to kind of drive it home that stress is it's a big problem when it comes to making art and making content, and it's really hard to get around because, you know, you feel like if you're stressed out, you feel like you have to work harder, then you work harder, you get more stressed out, and then you kind of get stuck in this cycle. You're just kind of working yourself, and it's not great. What I like to do when I'm stressed out is I like to think about just kind of like one task and just focus on that, or take a break, or look at my goals, kind of just do whatever works to get around that stress bump. But a lot of times what works for me is I think about like what my main task for the day is, and I get that done. And then that way any of the smaller tasks I complete during the day, they're kind of like icing on the cake. And I can kind of go about my day knowing, hey, when it comes to my work or my content, whether it's the website or the podcast or artwork, I know I have the main thing I wanted to get done today done. I find personally that if I wait until later in the day to get like my big task done, I often spend the rest of the day leading up to that kind of stressed out. Yeah, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning right now, by the way. I like to get up early and do the podcast before the family wakes up and gets out of bed. And I like to start off my Sunday knowing that I got the podcast done. And it feels really good. I like that. Number 8 is to regroup and adapt regularly, because we all hit obstacles from time to time. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just kind of keep working and try to force our way through the obstacle, or kind of hope that the obstacle goes away. And that doesn't always happen. And that is part of what causes stress and burnout, because we have these obstacles facing us and we're not really acknowledging them, or we're just trying to push our way through them and it doesn't work. They are obstacles for a reason. What I like to do in this scenario is to find creative solutions to the problems that I'm facing. And I always look for opportunities to adapt and regroup, because you can have the end goal of your project in mind, but the way you get there can be variable, and you can take a lot of different paths, and it can kind of zigzag or weave through other things. As long as you are working towards that end result, the path you take there doesn't really matter, especially if you're going to take a path that's going to cause you to get stressed and burnt out. So you should always be looking for ways where you can adapt your strategy, or just to regroup and refocus, and that'll help keep you from getting stressed, because you can find creative ways around the obstacles that you're facing. Number 9 is to try change the setting. Sometimes our environments can get stale, like sitting at the same desk every day, or just having the same routine every day. This is especially true during the coronavirus quarantine and lockdown, where we're all in our house. I see a lot of creators suffering from a stale setting, from being inside their house for a very long time. So changing up your environment can give you like a fresh mind and a fresh perspective on the work that you're doing. It can be something as simple as just moving your desk to a different part of the room, or rearranging the room, or sometimes even just cleaning the room and like dusting it and just doing a really good job of cleaning it. Could even give it kind of like a refreshed look. Or even, if you typically work on a laptop, go sit in the backyard, or go sit on your porch and get some work done where you usually work at a desk instead. It can have a really profound effect, where if you're not staring at the same wall or staring at the same screen all the time, or even just find one task of your work that you can go do somewhere else. Like grab a notebook, or like I said, grab a laptop and just go to a different part of your house or a different part of your workspace, or go outside and just see what happens. Sometimes it's really beneficial to switch up your surroundings. Number 10 is to focus on important tasks and to clean up the useless ones. When it comes to working on bigger projects, or projects that you do regularly, for example, like making a podcast, or say writing a novel, like writing a novel is a really big project, or a podcast would be a project that you do regularly with no kind of end date in mind. When you're doing projects like this, you have your schedule and you have the tasks that fit into your schedule. As you keep adapting and rearranging and regrouping your schedule, you can get all these different ideas or tasks that don't really help you towards your end goal, but you still do them anyways. Take a look at your process and try to clean it up as much as possible. And that way you're working in the most effective way possible. Keep an eye on your end result, and before you take any action on your project, think about how it fits into your end result and how it's going to progress you towards that, and how it fits in, like with the other things we talked about today, like with with your obstacles, and how it fits into your time that you have to work on it. Get rid of anything you're doing that doesn't really progress you towards those results, or things that can be automated, like a lot of social media posting. What I do for social media is I use a website called Buffer, where I can queue up all of my social media posts for the week all at once. So usually what I do is Sunday night, I will set up all my social media posts for the week. Then that way during the week, I'm not taking time out of my projects to go on social media and post. Obviously, I still go on social media to talk to people and talk to my friends. But as far as promoting the podcast or promoting articles on my website, I set all those up Sunday night for the whole week, or longer if I can get away with it. So look for ways where you can automate your tasks, or ways where you can work more efficiently, or just get rid of tasks that aren't really helping you finish your project. All right, those are my 10 tips for a creative burnout. I want to go over the list one more time. Number 1 is to have great time management. Number 2 is to not be hard on yourself. Number 3 is to take care of your body. Number 4 is to take care of your mind. Number 5 is to take a break when you need to. Number 6 is to keep your motivations in mind. Number 7 is to practice good stress management. Number 8 is to regroup and adapt regularly. Number 9 is to try to change a setting. And number 10 is to focus on important tasks and get rid of the useless ones. I hope you found these 10 strategies to be really helpful, or hope you find them to be really helpful. This podcast episode is based on an article that I wrote like a year ago about creative burnout. I recently have suffered from a bit of burnout and writer's block when it comes to writing articles for my website. So I actually went back and looked at this article I'd written, try to take a little bit of my own advice, looking back at this article that I had wrote previously to kind of help get myself over the bump I was having. And I thought it really helped. That's why I wanted to do this episode this week, because it's something that has been affecting me recently. I'm sure a lot of you are feeling it too, especially if you have to be in your house a lot. So I figured I would share these strategies with you, because they're ones that I actually have been using for a while, and I actually had to regroup and kind of start using again, because I hit a point where I was kind of overwhelmed and burnt out a few weeks ago. I found these to be really helpful even a year later after writing the article. All right, everyone. That's it for today's episode. If you're feeling burnt out, hit me up. We can talk about it. If you have any additional strategies that you want to talk about, let me know. Maybe I'll add them at the beginning of next episode if you have any that you want to tell me about, or I'll add them to the website. That would be really cool, is if I can get some of the listeners to actually help contribute. But yeah, fan of Effective Nerd says blah blah blah. That'd be kind of cool. Either way, I hope you found these strategies to be useful. Keep working hard. I love seeing all the work and the projects that you create, and that's the really fulfilling part about doing the podcast and running the website, is that I get to see you all just doing such talented and amazing creative work. So anyways, have a good week. Hit me up if you want to chat. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Effective Nerdcast. For more information on how to step up your work, please visit effectivenerd.com. You can find us on social media at effectivenerd. You can also email us at effectivenerd@gmail.com. Effective Nerdcast is hosted by Aaron Yara. The theme song was created by MC Graffiti.